For years, Il Volo has represented refinement. Their image is carefully crafted around timeless Italian artistry, classical influence, emotional storytelling, tailored suits, and orchestral grandeur. Their concerts are presented almost like cultural events rather than ordinary pop performances. Fans do not simply listen to the trio, they experience them. They collect memories, vinyl editions, glossy programs, commemorative hoodies, signed posters, tour-exclusive apparel, and limited edition memorabilia that transforms music into physical identity. But beneath that elegant aesthetic lies an uncomfortable contradiction that deserves closer examination. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you love deep investigations into music, culture, global fandoms, and the hidden systems behind the entertainment industry, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next documentary-style breakdown. Today, we are stepping far beyond the stage lights and soaring harmonies of Il Volo to investigate a question almost nobody in the operatic pop world wants to ask out loud. What is the true environmental cost of global fan culture? And can a luxury musical brand built on elegance and sophistication truly coexist with mass-produced merchandise consumption? Because while the trio performs beneath golden theatre lights and speaks publicly about beauty, culture, and emotional connection, the machinery powering global merchandise production often looks far less glamorous. Behind every tour shirt exists an industrial network of synthetic fibers, chemical dyes, freight logistics, warehouse systems, plastic packaging, energy-intensive manufacturing facilities, and massive transportation chains stretching across continents. The reality is that even the most sophisticated luxury-branded merchandise can still originate from the same fast production ecosystem that dominates modern commercial fashion. And this is where the paradox begins. Fans often associate physical ownership with emotional loyalty. Owning merchandise becomes proof of belonging. A hoodie from a specific concert is not merely fabric. It becomes evidence that someone was there. A limited edition vinyl record becomes a personal archive of emotional memory. A collectible tour item turns into social currency within fandom communities. Modern entertainment industries understand this psychology extremely well, and that understanding has transformed merchandise from a side business into a central pillar of global music economics. In the streaming era, artists no longer rely solely on album sales for revenue. Merchandise has evolved into a lifestyle economy. Fans are encouraged to participate in continuous consumption cycles through exclusive releases, limited drops, regional exclusives, anniversary editions, signed variants, premium bundles, and collector culture marketing. Even within the classical crossover genre, where sophistication and artistry are emphasized, the commercial infrastructure increasingly resembles the rapid turnover systems of fast fashion. Now imagine the life cycle of a single Il Volo World Tour t-shirt. It likely begins with petroleum extraction. Polyester, the dominant fabric used in affordable large-scale merchandise production, is fundamentally plastic. Crude oil is refined into synthetic fibers through energy-intensive industrial processes. Those fibers are transported to textile manufacturing facilities where they are spun, woven, chemically treated, dyed, heat-processed, and stabilized for mass production. Dyeing alone requires enormous quantities of water and chemicals, and textile wastewater remains one of the largest industrial pollution concerns worldwide. After production, the garments are packaged individually in plastic sleeves before being shipped to distribution centers. Some merchandise may travel thousands of kilometers before even reaching the first concert venue. Centralized manufacturing hubs frequently serve multiple global tours simultaneously because economies of scale reduce production costs. This means merchandise designed for audiences in Europe, North America, Asia, and South America may all originate from the same overseas factory network. Now expand that process from one shirt to hundreds of thousands of items across an international tour cycle. The carbon footprint grows rapidly. Cargo ships transport bulk inventory across oceans, Trucks distribute products to regional warehouses. Air freight may be used when inventory shortages occur during high-demand tour periods. Temporary retail installations are built inside arenas and theaters. Unsold inventory is repackaged, redistributed, discounted, or in some cases destroyed to avoid storage costs. Every stage consumes fuel, electricity, packaging materials, and labor resources, and the environmental impact does not stop with clothing. Collectors often view vinyl records as premium artistic products associated with authenticity and musical purity. Yet vinyl production relies heavily on PVC plastic, one of the most environmentally controversial materials in manufacturing. Glossy commemorative programs require high-quality coated paper, industrial inks, lamination, and chemical finishing processes. Even souvenir packaging contributes to waste accumulation because luxury branding frequently prioritizes presentation over minimalism. Ironically, the more elegant the product appears, the greater its environmental complexity may become. This creates a difficult tension for artists like Il Volo. Their brand identity depends heavily on timeless sophistication and emotional depth. Fans expect premium presentation. Cheap or simplified merchandise could potentially weaken perceptions of exclusivity and prestige. Yet maintaining luxury aesthetics within traditional manufacturing systems often increases material intensity rather than reducing it. Another major issue is transparency. Unlike major multinational fashion corporations, the operatic pop merchandising industry rarely publishes comprehensive sustainability audits. Fans usually have little visibility into sourcing practices, labor conditions, material origins, emissions tracking, or waste management systems connected to concert merchandise. Labels may indicate where an item was assembled, but that information barely scratches the surface of the full supply chain. And supply chains themselves are incredibly difficult to monitor. A merchandise contractor may outsource printing to one facility, textile assembly to another, packaging to a third, and freight coordination to multiple independent logistics companies. During major tour cycles, rapid scaling becomes necessary. This often means temporary subcontractors are brought in to meet demand spikes. The deeper a supply chain becomes, the harder it is to verify sustainability claims with certainty. This matters even more in 2026 because environmental regulations are tightening across the European Union. New textile durability initiatives, recycling expectations, and right-to-repair discussions are pushing industries toward greater accountability. Consumers are increasingly asking whether products are designed for longevity or merely for temporary hype-driven consumption. And this is where collector culture becomes especially important. Limited edition marketing creates urgency. Fans are told that certain merchandise pieces will only exist for one night, one city, one anniversary, or one specific tour era. Scarcity increases emotional attachment and purchasing pressure. Many fans buy multiple variants of essentially the same product because exclusivity transforms ordinary merchandise into collectible artifacts. But what happens years later? Some items are preserved carefully in collections. Others are forgotten in closets, discarded during moves, donated, or eventually sent to landfills. Fast emotional purchasing does not always translate into long-term practical use. Tour-specific fashion often loses relevance once the cultural moment fades. The environmental burden remains long after the excitement disappears. Even unsold inventory creates problems. Excess merchandise represents wasted material, wasted energy, wasted transportation, and wasted labor. Many entertainment companies avoid discussing overproduction publicly because it conflicts with carefully curated luxury branding, and yet audiences themselves are changing. Younger generations increasingly connect artistic credibility with environmental responsibility. Fans no longer evaluate musicians solely through performance quality. They also examine ethics, transparency, sustainability, labor practices, and corporate behavior. In this new cultural environment, environmental contradictions become reputational risks. This raises a fascinating question for Il Volo and the broader operatic crossover industry. Could elegance evolve beyond physical consumption itself? The future of sustainable fandom may depend on reducing dependence on mass-produced physical memorabilia altogether. Digital-first collectibles, immersive virtual experiences, authenticated phygital ownership systems, and limited on-demand manufacturing could dramatically lower waste generation. Instead of shipping massive quantities of pre-produced merchandise worldwide, artists could embrace localized printing systems that produce items closer to concert destinations, reducing freight emissions substantially. Organic cotton, recycled fibers, water-efficient dye technologies, biodegradable packaging, and demand-responsive production models already exist. The challenge is not technological impossibility. The challenge is economic restructuring. Sustainability often requires slower production cycles, smaller inventories, and lower short-term profit margins. That is difficult in an industry built around momentum, spectacle, and global demand. Still, there are pathways forward. Imagine future Il Volo tours, where merchandise is produced regionally rather than globally. Imagine digital collectible systems replacing some categories of disposable souvenirs. Imagine repair programs, recycling partnerships, or take-back initiatives allowing fans to return worn merchandise instead of discarding it. Imagine transparency reports detailing material sourcing, emissions reduction goals, and sustainability benchmarks tied directly to each world tour. Such moves would not weaken the trio's luxury image. In many ways, they could strengthen it. True sophistication in the modern era may no longer mean excess. It may mean responsibility. Audiences increasingly associate refinement with intelligence, awareness, and long-term thinking rather than unlimited consumption. The artists who adapt earliest could define the future cultural standard for ethical entertainment branding. Because ultimately, this conversation is bigger than one musical group. It reflects the transformation of modern fandom itself. We live in a world where emotional connection is increasingly monetized through physical ownership. The entertainment industry thrives on turning feelings into products. But as environmental pressures intensify globally, audiences may begin questioning whether every emotional experience truly needs a manufactured souvenir attached to it. Can global artistry coexist with ecological responsibility? Can luxury branding survive without overproduction? Can musical elegance extend beyond aesthetics into genuine operational sustainability? Those are the questions facing not only Il Volo, but the entire future of entertainment commerce. And perhaps the most powerful legacy an artist can leave behind is not just beautiful music, but a business model capable of respecting the world that future generations will inherit.